Good question. I hadn't really looked into this case, but I do kind of remember it. But I had an idea once you said it, what it might have been. My first idea was that interracial marriage wasn't illegal, likely in all states, probably just the colonies or in certain southern states at certain time periods. And I only had that idea based upon what I saw in the newspapers for quite some time. I'm gonna go over this, but and I had an idea about the whole banning of interracial marriages later on because it talks about down here that it's like in 1860 something or 1960 something, or might have been 1865 when they started the yeah, it said during the Reconstruction era. So let's look at it. So right here it says in 1865, that's where a lot of these anti-miscegenation laws kind of went into place, and it says here in place in certain states. So the wording does say that it happened in certain places, and it talks about first the colonial period. So that's just the Northeast. You know what I mean? Up from Maine down to maybe the Carolinas. And so you did have these certain things. And my thing with this 1865 and my whole idea was, since I had already seen them encouraging interracial marriages in the newspaper for some time, I felt like they were trying to stop interracial marriages later to prevent any new to kind of further the erasure of the Indians. You know what I mean? So like, if from 1700s all the way up to 1865, almost 165 year or 100 years or so, if I've been having people go in and mix and purposely making these mulatto kids mix, and having mulatto kids and more mulatto kids, then when I put anti-miscegenation laws into play, now those mulatto kids who are more white in appearance, um, that they may choose white. Let's say if it happened in the beginning of the 100 years, so I'm making sense. If it happened in the beginning of the 100 years and you had the most, some mulatto kids, and let's say just by choice they kept getting encouraged through the newspapers, like I showed just for this video, just for the sake of the video, let me throw the receipt up. But like I had showed, if they continue to do that, and this is 1900, let me put the 1700 up there for people who haven't seen the video. Here's one in 1792 encouraging intermarriages with YTs with them. It says the best way to civilize the Indians is to attach the United States to them. Anyway, that's just for the new people. But so my ideas on it is that you have people being encouraged, right? So you're encouraged in 1792, and then your offspring by 1801, 1802, when they come of age to be able to procreate, they're being encouraged to, get you a white, intermarry with another white person. You've already got the Indian citizenship because you're a mulatto Indian. Now they may be encouraged to get with a YT person. They don't need to go back to an Indian anymore. They already have the citizenship and the money. So then they start doing more and more white folks, or procreating more and more with the YTs, and then at some point, and some may not choose that. Some of those mulatto kids, like mine on my tree, who he chose. I'm gonna put the receipt up. He chose to go the route of marrying a black Indian, and they put him on the rolls as a freeman. By the time that came up, this is 1865 or late 1800s by this time. But so you got some people who chose to be with black folks, and you have some that chose to be with white folks after they've already had a mix and gotten tribal citizenship. And so what you end up with later is, now let's say you have a very highly mixed YT Indian. And then all of a sudden you enact, and you got a bunch of those now because you've been mixing and you've been encouraging, and then all of a sudden you enact anti-miscegenation laws saying, hey, no more mixing of the races. Well, it's kind of funny. You've already mixed in with the race within races and split them through mulatto marriages, mixed marriages, and now you're giving the YT looking passing people favor and legislation and things of that nature, while you're denigrating and doing things of that nature, just calling people freedmen who are of the black color cast. So And that continues for now until you got 1865 till they get rid of the anti-miscegenation laws around 1967. So now you got another, period of another about 50 to 100 years, 75 years or so, to where people have been procreating now back with themselves. So now, if you're YT passing and you done made yourself already over here, you know what I'm saying, as an Indian YT passing, whatever, you might just, now you're gonna likely stay over there. You know what I'm saying? You're probably not gonna go mix. You're kind of a little scared of the laws in certain states. And even if it wasn't a law in all states, the propaganda from it probably affected other people in other states too. But yeah, so then that's my idea on it. Now that's just an idea, a theory, but it kind of just makes sense because you have a lot of YT passing Indians today. Like, look at this, like a tribe like this. Like, I didn't know that Shasta was an Indian name, and I found out about it. And then you look at the tribal nation council, and that's what you got. You know what I mean? Now, these could just be people who paid to get in. It could just be that, or it could have been a mixture over time. Like, I believe, of course, it's a mixture of both. You got a bunch of these YT people who paid to get in. Some of them didn't even pay. They just probably, how they do. And then you might have some that have some lineage with some kind of tribal member that was mixed long, 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 long ago. That is possible. I don't believe that with these people and many of these other tribal councils that I be pulling up. So, all in all, that is just to say that the Levin versus Virginia to me was possibly used to help galvanize the interracial marriage mixing that they had encouraged for over 100 years prior to that within the late native lands, and then to encompass the split amongst the Negroes and the YT passing people when they instituted laws like the what you call it, the Reclassification Act of the Indians. All non-reservation Indians are now classified as Negroes, which I believe was done in 1928. So then you have this. So you have these. So you got encouragement. You got interracial marriages to be being encouraged by the government, then being illegal by the government in some areas, and then also you got reorganization acts. You got Dawes Rolls happening during the 1800s, really the 1887 time, like I said, or around 1800s. So you got the Dawes Rolls happening at this time that was splitting people, which led to people like my people, Homo Hota, Christian Lush. She's the Indian, he's a white Irishman that married in, and they had one person in my line, he listed as a freed right here because he had black lookership, but his sister would have had that too. His sister, which is Lucinda Love, there's Samuel Love, and there was Emma Hota, and there's Thomas Love up here, married a YT passing Samuel Colbert, and look, they have the actual seals of the Chickasaws. They don't have freedmen paperwork. So that just goes to show. And also, just so you see, there's Emma Holter, Thomas Love, Stephen Thomas Love. He had it, Stephen Thomas Christian Love. So when you combine all of that together, you have a story that over time, over 200 or so odd years or longer, that explains how they took over Indian territories, tribes, lands, and everything, mostly through intermarriage. Also with some fighting and some taking over of tribes here and there, but a lot of this through intermarriage and deceit. A lot of deceit was going on. So appreciate you giving me that thing, the point, the comment there that allowed me to really kind of look a little bit more into that, because I was thinking about it in my head when I was going through this, and then your comment really made me be like, you know what, let me go in here and just kind of put some of that two and two together. And I'm probably still going to need to look more into it, just to solidify what I'm saying. But that's at least my thoughts on it. So yeah, that's what's up.